Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading's Miami office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Thursday, December the 19th, 2013, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary video brought to you by WallStreetTrading.com. If you have not been to the website yet, folks, go check it out. A lot of great information there you can find. Aside from that, let's go ahead and get into the video here. The Dow Jones was down 11 points today, pretty much flat. The NASDAQ gap down a little bit, traded sideways, down close to 12 points. The S&P 500, gap down, sold off a little bit, and was able to make a double bottom on the S&P futures around 1795, and they rallied up and closed near the top of the range there, slightly under the previous day's close, so we were down a point there. Looking at the breadth here, we had 3,849 issues declining on the NYSE, NASDAQ, and the AMEX. We had 2,478 issues advancing on the NYSE, NASDAQ, and the AMEX. So breadth was in favor of the bears on that aspect. But we did have 373 issues making new highs today, and we had 99 issues making new lows. So it was in favor of the bulls on the new high and new low breadth reading that we got here. So aside from that, let's go ahead and jump in real quick. Let me take a look at the heat map, see what sectors were weak today. Utilities were weak. Some of the technology was pretty much mixed. Oracle, a big name that we talked about yesterday, came out yesterday after the close and guided higher for their Q2 earnings. We're going to look at that chart here shortly, but we nailed that. And based off the chart pattern, but of course, press release came out, helped the stock out, and that stock was off to the races today, up close to 6%. HPQ some action there. There's a little bit of weakness in retail and consumer goods. Healthcare a little bit mixed. Financials were a little bit weak today, mixed slash weak. So let's go ahead and break down the charts here, starting off with the spiders, the S&P 500 ETF here, down 21 cents, still holding that nice level down there, 177.55. And we're still looking for a breakout above the 181.75 level, which is the high that we made right there. Or better yet, we're looking to get a nice break above 182 and hold that bid above 182, as we're still looking to touch the top of this channel and may hopefully start banging at the top of that channel and possibly break through it. We'll see how that shapes out. But everything looks pretty good. I would say short-term support, keep an eye on this 180 level. You can see there's a prior resistance level right here. It broke out, and then now we're above the moving averages. So that'll be a good level to watch. And then the level 181.75, then the levels above, which of course there's no resistance above. So if we do start making new highs, then we'll have to wait and see which area the market finds that resistance. All right, let's go and take a look at the triple Qs and real quick the ES action here. Same thing, you can see a little pause day. We sold off a little bit overnight, and then they bought us right back up. We really started selling when the jobless claims came out because they were a little bit less than expected. All right, and therefore, I'm sorry, they're a little bit more than expected, and therefore the market sold off. So that's what caused the selling, but then they bought it right back up. All right, so the triple Q, the NASDAQ 100 ETF here, closed down 24 cents. Looks like to me they fixed up the charts a bit here. That's pretty good. In any case here, you want to be watching this previous day's highs. If we get a break above this 86, target of course will be yesterday's high, 86.21. Then we'll be looking at these levels up here around 86.50, 86.40, 86.30 or so as a possible area to watch it. Okay. To the downside, keep an eye on today's lows, 85.56, 85.50 area. Then keep an eye on yesterday's opening price around 85.21. How about that IWM? The IWM showed some relative weakness today, folks, down 0.75%. It's trying to make its way back above that 50% trend line that we like to watch whenever we have an identified channel or range. And you can see it's right here. If we break over this 113 level, that should bring some traction. And of course, if that happens, you're an intraday trader. You can always go and look at that TNA, which is 3 times long, the ETF here. If we move to the downside, you want to keep a close eye again on this area right here. Prior resistance broke out, so right at yesterday's opening price, and then I would say back down towards the 111 area, 110.50 area. All right, how about that DIA? The Dow Jones made new all-time highs yesterday. Well, it made new all-time highs again. So the Dow is definitely giving you a nice little move going into the end of the year. And I think, of course, the other indices should follow. All right, a lot of crazy action today, folks. We saw a gold breakdown. The VIX sold off a little bit, but then again caught that nice little bit at this key 1350 area. We will be paying close attention to the VIX to see if it starts holding a high bid. You see how right here the VIX was holding a bid around this 1250 area. Well, if the VXX starts to hold a bid going into the near around this 1350 area, that'll kind of give us a clue that maybe some people are, of course, putting on some protection as we continue to move higher. But at the same time, some people are possibly getting a little bit worried that the market could, be due for a little small short correction. We'll see. The VIX is definitely a good indicator to use to kind of look for that divergence, to look for that relative strength or something, or relative strength or relative weakness to the market. So check that out, folks. A lot of good stuff there. Dollar futures, dollar. We saw some continuation in the strength of the dollar here. If the dollar index get back above this 81 level, that could probably propel us up to this 81.25, 81.50. You can see we had this nice little downward channel that we noted to you all here, and now we're going to be breaking the top, potentially holding up to above that level. We'll see. If we break back in the channel, then break right back down, that would in fact be bearish, and then that will probably give some more juice for people to have more conviction that we're actually going down, which will then cause more heavy selling pressure. But right now, after moving down for 5 weeks in the dollar, the news that came out from the Fed yesterday, gave some bullish action to the dollar and gave it a bid, and now the dollar's getting bid up. And of course, that would mean that the euro dollar is moving to the downside, pulling back away from this little double top area we have right here around a 138 and coming into this little trend line support where I do think you'll be able to catch a little bounce there. Why? For the fact it's a trend line support. It's also a prior resistance, now support, also a moving average right there. So you have three forms of support here, from the trend line, from the horizontal prior resistance, now support, and from the 50-day moving average. I think you should at least be able to catch a nice scalp on the euro around this 135.90 area. If you in fact trade the euro via the spot forex or via the euro futures, the 6E contract, there definitely is a trade there. All right, we're going to talk about some stocks, of course. Let me just finish going through a couple more key charts that I want to highlight to you guys, some macro stuff. I want to look at gold. Gold has been on the weak radar. We have been tracking this to the downside. We have been on top of this to the downside. We have provided you guys with analysis here to the downside. And now what you have in gold is another wide range bar down, volume coming in, and it took some people some time to digest the news and maybe read over the reports that came out yesterday. But now you can definitely see there's more sellers in control in the gold than there are buyers. After consolidating this little range for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks or so, gold is now breaking down out of a 5-week range. If it was to pop right back up in the range, that'll be bullish. But if it continues to hold below the 1220 level, we'll be looking for a move down towards the year lows, which is right there around 1179. If we break below 1179, we're going to be looking for a move back down towards 1100, maybe even 1000, folks. It's not going to happen overnight, but in other words, there's the bid that gold was trying to hold looks as if it is disappearing now. Keep an eye on that. Silver. All right, silver is still trading sideways in this nice little downward channel. I do think silver is probably going to try to, if gold goes back to the lows, I do think that silver is going to go back and try to check these lows down here around 1817. So I actually was able to, I actually got out that PAAS trade that I was telling you guys about. That, gave us a nice little oversold pop, which is exactly what we were looking for. Let's bring that chart up just real quick, since it was a stock that I recommended to you guys to look at. We recommended the stock down here at 1045. It popped up to 1125, pulled back in, shot right back up, made new 2-month highs or so, and then pulled right back in yesterday. Held a bit at 1070, but however, if gold decides to pull back more and silver decides to pull back more, I don't think this is going to have any juice to break out. And it's probably going to kind of say trade sideways near the top of the range and maybe fall back in a bit. But at the same time, when gold and silver do get that precious metal rally, this will definitely be the best silver miner stock to look at, as it is on top of long-term support at 10. If it can start holding above 1125, a nice bid there, and some volume, more volume picks up, I'll probably suggest to get back in it, but we'll see how that plays out. So gold, silver weak. The copper action has definitely been pretty strong. Copper has been showing relative strength to the other metals. However, again, you really can't get bullish on copper until it gets above that 340 level. Last but not least, the GDX of gold miners making new 52-week lows. Making new 4-year lows, and it's making its way back down towards the 2008 lows from back in November, which was around 1763. Remember, guys, we said that if this thing cannot catch a bid above 21 and starts to hold below 21, look for this thing to continue to fade. It's been trading in the range for 1, 2, 3 weeks, and now broke below that range. Let's keep an eye on this here to see if it continues to hold below that 20, 50, 21 area. All right, so let's talk about some stocks. Actually, let's go over crude oil real quick. I know keep on saying let's talk about stocks, and I was forgetting one thing. But crude oil caught a nice bid today. We're looking for crude oil to make its way back above 100 and hit towards 102 as long as we can hold this nice little lower pivot, higher pivot low that we made in right there, which is around 96. As long as we can hold a bit above 96 and a bit above this 98 area, of course, next like it is like it's doing today or like it closed today, right above that 98 level, we'll be looking for this thing to start stair stepping its way higher slowly up towards the 102 area. Keep that crude oil on your radar. So what about some stocks, guys? Well, we are noticing that Apple is showing relative weakness to the markets. At the same time, that should not be bothering you because you should not be long Apple from the levels that it's been trading at for the past 3 or 4 days. You know, if you were looking at Apple, you would have wanted to be long Apple from back in this area, say anywhere below 540 and above 526 would have been good. As above 526 would have showed you a little bit more confirmation and conviction, and then anywhere below 540 in between that area would have been a good area to try to accumulate because you're not chasing. You were still in it before that big momentum breakout that it had above 540. But now it hit 540 yesterday, got a nice little technical balance, and now it's going right back down. Probably going to break below 540, take out this low, try to stop some people out that maybe got long Apple, would stop at the low and hit this 250-day moving average right here around 530. That's the scenario I'm looking at for Apple. So I do think Apple pulls back in a bit, and plus the fact that it's showing relative weakness right now, it's kind of tipping its hands towards you that it's a little bit weak. Amazon, nice movement in Amazon today. Well, it was not able to close above the previous day's highs, but if you look at the 5-minute chart, it is respecting those dip buys. If you take a look at the 1-minute chart, because this 5-minute chart looks kind of thin or whatever. The market's not trading that heavy right now with volumes. A lot of people are on their way towards their vacation homes or towards visiting families and friends for Christmas. In any case, here Amazon again, dip was bought right up around this 392.50 level, and then it traded all the way towards the highs. Back to the 5-minute chart, it gave you a nice trade all the way down there from 392 to a high of 397, a $5 move if you're in fact were taking that approach to buy the strong stocks on dips like Amazon. eBay, let me follow up on this one here. Um, eBay, making its way above that 200-day moving average. If we can continue to see consecutive closes above that 200-day moving average, we're going to be looking for eBay to make a small move up towards that 55 level, and we'll gauge it from there. The 3D printing companies were on fire today. We've been preaching about these stocks in our room. Look, there goes DD. Material stocks were on fire as well today. We're going to talk about that here shortly. But Triple D, again, we talked about this yesterday. A lot of traders on the stream, on the social media, they're watching this stock here. So once it triggered over, 82.50, this thing took off, and we're looking for that move back up towards that 52-week high of 85. SSYS, the other 3D printing company, has been lagging a bit. You can definitely see here it's been trading in a range between 115 and 125, so it's been trading in this nice little wide 10-point range. If it gets over 125 and the triple D starts breaking out, this thing can start catching some momentum. Monthly, weekly chart, everything still is pretty much intact. Again, this one has not been getting that nice intraday volume that we like, but it definitely showed a little bit of life today, and we're going to be looking at this name going forward to see if it wants to move back up and catch up with some of that momentum that the triple D has been showing over their stock. So take a look at the 5-minute. You can see momentum really did not come into the name until it broke above the 122 level. I also highlighted the fact that you could draw a little volume trend line in here, and that's when that volume picked up, and that's when the momentum started coming right in there. All right, so different tools and strategies you can use to calculate your entry and try to get in that trade. So keep an eye on this stock tomorrow. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on it. I like the way it's setting up. I like the way that Triple D's is looking like it wants to get the momentum back into it. So solars. Let's finish going over this little tech semiconductor space technology high, beta names, good decent beta plays, high beta plays. FSLR held that key trend line. Right, we mentioned that watch FSLR for a nice bounce, triggered along over today's highs after gapping down. Could have bought that dip. Looks pretty good. If FSLR could get back above 58, this prior support, now resistance, well, it can maybe do a little shakeout and then start making its way higher. Keep an eye on this little downward trend line right here, because that's when the momentum's really going to come in there. You can also see it's like a nice little downward channel right here. I like FSLR. Solars were in play. SCTY broke out today. And if you guys have any suggestions or would like to leave a comment on the video, please do so. I would like to make sure I accommodate everybody to anything that they would like me to look at on a continuous basis that I may be missing here. All right. Anyways, SCTY broke out today. Nice $4 move. Solars, again, this thing's breaking out this nice little range, little cup and handle action, a little mini cup and handle action. Looking for a move back up towards these gap areas, 60, maybe even 65.30. You can see volume. Same thing on the daily. Volume trend line and volume starting to pick up as we get towards that apex. It's kind of like a market symmetrical time. It's kind of like a timer right there when you use that volume. You can time it right, and you can time it when you expect the volume to pick up, and you catch that momentum in the trade. Intraday, do it on your intraday charts, do it on your dailies, do it on your monthly, weekly. Of course, it works on all time frames. Let's see, CSIQ, SPWR. You have all those different names you can look at. I'm not going to punch them all up. Even though I think I just did, but they look good, guys. Keep an eye on them. Let's see. All right, we talked about the Oracle. Let's go ahead and look at it. They came out and raised their guidance after hours yesterday, and look what the stock did. All right, actually no, they had their earnings. Their earnings report came out. They had their earnings. They raised their guidance. They got upgraded a bit by a couple of companies, I believe, this morning. The stock took off to the moon. It was definitely a stock we were watching in the chat room. It was a gap and go setup. What do I mean by a gap and go setup? Well, if you take a look at the extended session and you look at a 5-minute chart, or you can look at a 1-minute chart, but if you look at a 5-minute chart, you can see here it was gapping up pre-market after it made a nice little sell-off yesterday and recovered all those pre-market losses, all that selling pressure it had pre-market. It rallied back up overnight. We're going into the end of the after-hour session. Moved up a little bit more pre-market. Then what do you see here? Well, you see the stock trading this nice little range between, let's see here, between 35.40 and 35.20. So I told my guys in the chat room, hey, watch Oracle. It looks like a gap and go play because of the location on the daily chart, because it's a nice little tight range. It's been in this little range holding a bid down here above this 35.20 since 8 o'clock this morning, and then going into the open, it's in a nice little tight range. That's a perfect setup for a gap and go where you look to get long right before the open, or you look to get long right over, say, the 1-minute bar, the 1-minute bar high, or the 1-minute bar, the previous 1-minute bar before the market opens there, which would be this one. So you could put like a stop loss order, a buy stop to get involved in the trade, put another order to get stopped out if it was to fill you and then shake right back down. So you can at least kind of limit your losses if that was to happen. But usually gap and go, buy stop, stop in there. As soon as the market opens, you get filled, and boom, you're already in the trade. Momentum picks in. You don't have to worry about trying to catch a stock on a little dip or trying to find a trade, an entry in the trend, which can sometimes be hard mentally to try to get a stock up here when you're like buying it on the highs. But you guys understand what I'm saying. That's definitely a stock to trade. Oracle should have some decent action tomorrow. Great trade there, great analysis, and good job on their part for coming out with good earnings. Let's take a look at some energy names. Some energy names I mentioned to you guys to watch yesterday that I think could get some fall through action going forward into tomorrow. A COG, all right, nice little move up, nice little kind of like a little tight flag there, gapped up and rallied. Definitely it got some help from the natural gas numbers that came out this morning, which I believe were very bullish, and that's why you see this UNG, this natural gas, moving on up there. And look at the volume that's coming in to that natural gas here as of late, the past 3 weeks, 2 weeks or so. Like the action there. So COG, All right, continue to watch this name. All right, I like the action there. I definitely think it's going to go back and try to retest these highs around $40.35. RRC, another name that I told you guys to watch, has been trading in a range between 72 and 82, a $10 range since February, and now it's looking like it wants to try to break over the top of the range. You can see volumes picking up down there. It's making these nice little higher pivot lows towards the top of the range at a bit of a steeper angle than it has done before, meaning that there's definitely people anxious in buying some shares now based on my analysis and based on how the chart is and based on what the chart is telling us. And therefore, if it gets a nice break above 82.54, this thing could really get going. I traded this before a couple times intraday, and when this thing gets going, it really can move up pretty nice and smooth and fast intraday. So imagine if it breaks on the daily, what it could do. Get what I'm saying there? So in any case, keep this one in your radar. You have some other natural gas names that are looking pretty good. CLNE looks like it wants to get going. If you take a look at SWN, SWN is nice movement here. Big up move, sideways consolidation range. If it could get a break above 39.50 and hold above that bid, looks to go higher. Devon Energy came out with some good news a couple weeks ago, rallied up, pulled back in. All right, well, not a couple weeks ago, sorry. Well, yeah, back here in November the 19th, and then back here it rallied up pretty nice. And let me just take off these lines I have here. Then you can see the big range it's really trading in is between, say, 59 and this 65 area. This is kind of like a little outlier right here. And it broke this little, it's about to break this little downward short-term trend line right here. So look for a move up over today's highs for a continuation play. All right, you can definitely see there's like some accumulation going on down here near the bottom of the range as you have these big volume spikes. All right, so keep that one on your radar. Chevron. Again, I'm seeing a lot of solid companies that are catching a bid. Well-known company names like Chevron, IBM's finally starting to catch a bid as money's coming back into the name after so much oversold. We'll take a look at it here shortly. But Chevron looks like it's gearing up for a break over 124. Looks like it did a nice little shake out below its pivot low to shake in some shorts and maybe shake out some longs. And now if it could break above 124, we'll be looking for that thing to start making its way up towards 126. Again, Chevron has been trading with a little bit more momentum since ExxonMobil has been catching a bid, a pretty nice bid, and you have Goldman Sachs upgraded ExxonMobil. Of course, Chevron is a sympathy trade, and maybe they're getting their business together like ExxonMobil is, and maybe they're going to get an upgrade later on down the road if they haven't already. Keep an eye on that name there. Nike, they came out with earnings after the bell. Stock closed at 78.26. Looking at the 5-minute chart, you can see it's trading 78.60. Sold off a little bit down there, but really not much. Still not really anything exciting to make the stock have a big surprise going into tomorrow unless something happens before the after hours market closes or anything happens pre-market. We also had Red Hat. Now this one's gonna be interesting tomorrow because they looks like they blew their numbers out the water when I was looking at it earlier. Yeah, and it's still hanging up near its highs. You have Red Hat broke out, closed at say 48.91. It's trading 54.30. Big up move, sideways consolidation right now. It's actually making a little tight bull flag. Post market may try to push up higher before the after hours market closes. Definitely need to keep an eye on your radar on your watch list for tomorrow. Whew. All right. Um, KBH and ACN. KBH had earnings this morning. You can see the stock still trading this little choppy range. We had the housing numbers that came out this morning. Existing home sales, I believe they were down. All right, that's what caused a little bit of the selling pressure that came in around 10 o'clock, but then they bought that selling pressure right back up. So KBH, Toll, Toll still hanging in there. What else? Some weak stocks. All right, so I'm just talking about all these bullish stocks. Let's take a look at some weak stocks. Then we talked about Apple's weak. I'm seeing some weakness in some retail names. JCPenney looks like it wants to roll over. I know sometimes the stock can give you decent trade action intraday. Not a high, not a top tier short list trade, but something that we're just going to watch, of course. Deckers, DECK rolling over a little bit there. Definitely could maybe get some more downside action tomorrow. We do know that some of these specialty retail stores have been pretty weak, like Lulu. Deckers showing some weakness. Let's take a look at maybe Tiffany, some high-end stores here, see how they're doing. Tiffany's still looking pretty decent for the retail action. You have Macy's still hanging in there. I like the chart on Macy's. I believe Macy's, they're going to do pretty good with the amount of sales. I'm pretty sure that they're going to, record this year for the holiday season. So keep an eye on Macy's. I know a lot of people that shop at Macy's. Plus, good, they got good products, and a lot of the stores over here, they are redesigned, remodeled inside, so a lot of people are liking what they did. You know, much looks much better, much cleaner, more organized, and I guess the stock price is showing that. So keep an eye on Macy's. I like it, and we'll have some more short ideas tomorrow. I gotta go look for some short ideas. Intel, because you always want to have some short ideas and some long ideas just in case the market was to pull back and surprise you. But Intel looks pretty good. All right, rallied up, did some crazy news came out here that caused the gap down. I'm not sure what the news was. I have to go back and look, but rallied up, broke past this range, gapped up, pulled back in that range, made that higher pivot low, right back up. Now looking for a break over this key level. We're going to be watching this one tomorrow for a break and hold above this 23, 28 area. Let me just go ahead and put my alert right there. If you're watching Intel, keep an eye on Broadcom, another semiconductor stock that's holding up pretty decent. It's trying to get back. It's trying to get back in this gap right here. If it gets a break above this 29 area, maybe we could see some dip buyers. Pick this name up with expectations that it tries to fill this gap up. So we'll see. Have a great day, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, please like the video, share the video on your websites or Twitter, whatever the case may be, and come to our chat room, mywallstreettv.com, and see some of the work we do. Got a lot of people joining the chat room now, signing up, and they're providing some good information. The room is free, so go ahead, go check it out. If you need help getting in the room, just send me an email or go through the website wallstreettrading.com. Fill out the 14-day trial on the right hand side. Have a great day, folks. Cheers.